My parents demanded I pay my brother $1,200 a week. When I refused, they tried to steal from me. Now they're facing legal consequences, and I cut them off for good. I never thought I'd be the black sheep of the family, but here we are. It all started a few months ago when my parents sat me down for a serious talk. I assumed it was about their retirement plans or maybe something about their health. Nope. It was something much worse. They told me that since I was financially stable, I needed to help out my younger brother, Ryan, and his wife, Emily. I asked what they meant by help out, thinking maybe they wanted me to loan him money for an emergency. But no, what they actually wanted was for me to send them $1,200 a week because young families struggle, and it's only fair. I laughed at first because I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. Ryan and Emily sat there looking smug while my parents explained that I, a single man with no real responsibilities, should be willing to support Ryan's family since he had 2 kids and a mortgage. My parents kept going on about how Ryan works so hard, but doesn't make enough, and that since I make 6 figures, it wouldn't even affect me. I was stunned. I told them absolutely not. Ryan and Emily were both fully capable of working and budgeting like the rest of us. I wasn't about to fund their lifestyle just because they decided to have kids. My parents flipped out, calling me selfish and ungrateful for all they had done for me. Ryan had the audacity to say, "If the roles were reversed, I would help you." I just stared at him. Because the roles were reversed when we were kids. Ryan was the golden child, always bailed out of everything, while I had to work for everything I had. I moved out at 18, paid my own way through college, and built my career from the ground up. Meanwhile, Ryan got a free ride, our parents paid for his school, his wedding, even his first house down payment. And now they wanted me to support him? I told them no again and walked out. That should have been the end of it. But it was only the beginning. After I walked out of that ridiculous meeting, I figured my parents and Ryan would cool off and realize how absurd their demand was. I was wrong. The very next day, I started getting text after text from family members, some I hadn't even spoken to in months. My Aunt Karen messaged me first. "I can't believe you're turning your back on family. Ryan needs help, and you're being selfish." Then my cousin Mike. "Dude, $1,200 a week is nothing for you. Why not just help your brother out?" Even my grandma got involved. She left me a long voicemail about how family always comes first, and how my parents were so disappointed in the man I had become. I was floored. My parents were actively smearing my name to the entire family. Meanwhile, Ryan and Emily? Not a word from them directly. They were just letting everyone else do their dirty work. So, I did something I knew would make things worse. I sent a mass text to everyone who had contacted me. "I owe Ryan nothing. I worked hard for what I have. If you're so concerned, why don't you each chip in and give him $1,200 a week? If not, stop harassing me." Silence. Then my mom called, crying. Not real crying, guilt trip crying. She went on about how I was tearing the family apart, and how Ryan was struggling to provide for his kids. Then she hit me with the ultimate guilt trip. "If you don't help your brother, you're letting your nieces suffer." I couldn't believe it. My nieces? They weren't my responsibility. Ryan and Emily chose to have kids. It was their job to take care of them, not mine. So I doubled down. I told her I wasn't going to give them a cent, and if she kept trying to manipulate me, I'd go no contact. Her response? "If you cut us off, you're dead to this family." That was it. That was the moment I knew I was done. But what happened next? I never saw it coming. After my mom's dramatic declaration that I'd be dead to the family if I didn't comply, I expected them to go silent for a while. Instead, things escalated in a way I never could have predicted. A week after I refused their insane demand, I got a call from an unknown number. I usually ignore those, but for some reason, I picked up. It was Ryan. "Hey man," he started, acting all casual, like he hadn't just let our parents wage war on me. "Can we talk?" I was tempted to hang up, but curiosity got the better of me. "About what?" He sighed like he was the victim here. "Look, I get that you're mad, but this whole situation has gotten out of control. Mom and Dad are freaking out, and honestly, it's exhausting. If you could just agree to help us out a little, we could all move past this." I nearly laughed out loud. Help you out a little? Ryan, they demanded I pay you $1,200 a week. That's over $62,000 a year. That's more than some people make in a full-time job. How is that a little? He got defensive immediately. Okay, but that's what they suggested. I would have been fine with, like, half that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So you admit you do expect me to give you money? Why, Ryan? Why do you think I owe you anything? And that's when his mask slipped. Because you have it, and we need it. That's how family works, dude. You wouldn't even feel it, but for us, it would change everything. You're just being selfish. There it was. The entitlement, plain as day. I took a deep breath and said, Ryan, let me make this clear. I'm never giving you a dime. You and Emily are grown adults. You chose to have kids. You chose your lifestyle. And now you get to live with those choices. Stop acting like I owe you for existing. He got angry. You really want to die on this hill? I smirked. I'd rather die on this hill than let you turn me into your personal ATM. And then I hung up. I thought that was the end of it. But I was wrong. Because the very next day, something happened that I never expected. I woke up the next morning thinking I was finally done with this nonsense. I had made my stance clear. No money, no guilt, no more conversations about it. But my family? Oh no, they weren't ready to let it go. I found out exactly how far they were willing to go when I tried to use my credit card at a coffee shop and got declined. Confused, I checked my banking app. My account was locked. Panic hit me for a second. Had I been hacked? But then I saw a notification from my bank. Fraud alert. Multiple unauthorized login attempts detected. Account temporarily frozen for security reasons. I rushed home and called the bank. After verifying my identity, the rep told me someone had been trying to access my account from a different device, repeatedly entering the wrong passwords until it triggered a lockdown. I was furious. I changed all my passwords, enabled two-factor authentication, and then it hit me. Who else besides me would have even tried something like this? I had a gut feeling. And it was right. Later that evening, my cousin Mike, the same one who texted me about helping my brother, messaged me. Hey man, I just want to say I had nothing to do with what happened, but I think Ryan and Emily went too far. I called him immediately. What do you mean? Mike hesitated. Look, I wasn't supposed to say anything, but Ryan was ranting about how you're a greedy jerk and that if you weren't gonna help willingly, then maybe you'd help accidentally. My stomach dropped. Are you saying Ryan tried to hack my bank account? Mike sighed. Emily, too. They were talking about how you wouldn't even notice if a little money went missing here and there. I told them they were insane, but they didn't listen. Guess they tried and failed. I was speechless. My own brother, and his wife, had tried to steal from me. I thanked Mike for telling me, but inside I was livid. I had tried to handle this the mature way, but they wanted to play dirty? Fine. If they thought they could get away with this, they were about to learn how wrong they were. Because I had proof. And I was about to use it. The second I got off the phone with Mike, my mind was racing. My own brother had tried to steal from me. I had been willing to let the family drama go, but this? This was a whole new level of betrayal. I needed proof. First, I called my bank again and asked if they could provide details on the login attempts. The rep confirmed that the failed logins had come from an IP address linked to my hometown, where Ryan and Emily lived. I asked if they could send me a formal record of the activity, and they agreed. Next, I messaged Mike again. Hey man, I really appreciate you telling me what Ryan and Emily tried to do. If I need you to confirm this later, would you be willing? Mike hesitated at first, but after a minute he replied. Yeah. I don't want to be in the middle of this, but I also don't agree with what they did. If it comes to that, I'll back you up. That was enough for me. Then I went a step further. I called my friend Jake, who works in IT security. I told him the whole story, and he immediately offered to help. Within an hour, he had tracked the IP address from my bank's fraud alert and confirmed that it was registered under Ryan and Emily's home internet provider. That was all I needed. I had concrete evidence that Ryan and Emily had tried to access my bank account, plus a witness who could confirm their plan. This wasn't just petty family drama anymore, this was fraud. I could have called Ryan right then and confronted him. But I didn't. Instead, I decided to let him think he had gotten away with it. Because I wasn't just going to call him out, I was going to make sure he faced real consequences. And when he realized what was coming, he wouldn't know what hit him. I spent the next 24 hours sitting on my evidence, carefully planning my next move. I wasn't just going to confront Ryan. I wanted to make sure there was no way he could weasel his way out of this. The first thing I did was consult a lawyer. Luckily, my company offers legal assistance as part of our benefits, so I got on a call with someone that afternoon. I explained everything: the demand for money, the harassment from my family, and most importantly, the attempted fraud. The lawyer's response? You have a strong case for identity theft and attempted fraud. If you want to press charges, we can move forward immediately. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Pressing charges meant taking things to a whole new level. Was I really ready for that? But then I thought about it. Ryan and Emily had tried to steal from me. They had no remorse, no shame. And what if they had succeeded? Would they have stopped at just a small amount, or would they have kept draining my accounts, assuming I wouldn't notice? That's when I knew. I told the lawyer I wanted to proceed, but first, I had one more thing to do. I called my parents. My mom picked up immediately, her voice cold. Oh. So you do remember you have a family? I ignored the jab. I need to talk to you and Dad. Now. A pause. Then, she sighed dramatically. Fine. We're both here. I took a deep breath. Ryan and Emily tried to steal from me. They attempted to hack my bank account. I have proof. And I'm pressing charges. Silence. Then, my dad exploded. That's ridiculous. Ryan would never do something like that. Really? I said calmly. Because I have bank records, IP tracking, and a witness who overheard them talking about it. If you want, I can send you the proof before I send it to the police. My mom gasped. You wouldn't dare call the police on your own brother. I smiled to myself. Watch me. Then my dad said something that nearly made me drop the phone. If you do this, we'll make sure you regret it. That's when I realized my own parents weren't just in denial. They were willing to protect Ryan, no matter what he did. And if they thought their threats were going to stop me, they had no idea who they were dealing with. I sat there, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Did my own father just threaten me? I let out a cold laugh. Did you seriously just say that? You're threatening me, the one Ryan tried to steal from? My dad scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. I'm saying that if you go through with this, you'll be tearing the family apart. People will take sides, and you won't like how that turns out for you. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't about right or wrong. It was about protecting the golden child at all costs. I had always known my parents favored Ryan, but this was next level. I see how it is, I said, keeping my voice steady. Ryan commits a crime, and instead of holding him accountable, you tried to scare me into staying quiet. That's real family values right there. You're blowing this out of proportion. My mom cut in, her voice sharp. It was a mistake. Ryan didn't actually steal anything, did he? The bank stopped it. So what's the harm? I almost couldn't believe what I was hearing. The harm is that he tried, Mom. And if he had succeeded, what then? Would you still be defending him? Families help each other, she said firmly. If you weren't so selfish, he wouldn't have felt desperate enough to do this. And there it was. It wasn't Ryan's fault. It was mine. I took a deep breath. You know what? I'm done. With all of you. I already have a lawyer involved. If you try to interfere, you'll be making things worse for yourselves. My dad's voice was eerily calm. You do this and you're out. Don't come to us when you need family. I almost laughed. I haven't needed you for years. And with that I hung up. I expected to feel heartbroken. But honestly, I felt free. What I didn't expect was what would happen next. Because my parents weren't just going to sit back and let me take legal action. They were about to make one last, desperate move. And this time, it was personal. I thought cutting off my parents and Ryan would give me some peace. I was wrong. The very next day, my phone blew up with texts and calls from family members, all spewing the same nonsense. How could you do this to your own brother? Pressing charges? Really? Over a misunderstanding? You're going to ruin Ryan's life over nothing. Nothing? Ryan and Emily had literally tried to steal from me, and now I was the bad guy. I ignored most of the messages until my Aunt Linda, one of the few relatives I actually liked, called me. I answered, and she got straight to the point. Your parents are telling everyone that you're trying to get Ryan arrested out of jealousy. They said you're bitter because he has a family and you don't. I blinked. What? She sighed. They're making it sound like you're some bitter, lonely guy who hates seeing Ryan happy. They even said you tried to sabotage his finances first, and he was just trying to fix things. I almost laughed at how ridiculous it was. Do they have any proof of that? Of course not, she said. But you know how this family is. The truth doesn't matter. Whoever plays the victim better wins. And right now, they're painting Ryan as the poor, struggling father being attacked by his cruel, rich brother. Unbelievable. I clenched my jaw. Thanks for telling me, Aunt Linda. But they messed with the wrong person. If they want to spread lies, I'll give them the truth. And I'll make sure everyone sees it. I hung up and immediately got to work. Step 1? I drafted a long, detailed message explaining exactly what had happened, how my parents demanded $1,200 a week, how I refused, and how Ryan and Emily tried to hack my bank account. I attached screenshots of my bank's fraud alert, the text messages, and even Mike's confirmation that Ryan had admitted to it. Step 2? I sent it to every single person in the family group chat. And then? I waited. Because I knew this was about to blow up. The second I hit send, chaos erupted in the family group chat. My mom was the first to respond. I can't believe you would lie like this. But then Mike chimed in. He's not lying. I told him what Ryan and Emily tried to do. I heard it myself. Silence. Then my cousin Sarah. Wait, so Ryan actually tried to steal from him? And Mom and Dad knew? More silence. Then, finally, Ryan himself. This is so messed up. I can't believe you'd throw your own brother under the bus over a stupid misunderstanding. I fired back immediately. A misunderstanding is borrowing money and forgetting to pay it back. What you did was attempted fraud. The chat exploded. Some relatives immediately took my side. Others doubled down on defending Ryan. My parents? Dead silent. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Ryan left the group chat, followed by my parents. They had lost control of the narrative. And they knew it. Not even an hour after my parents and Ryan bailed from the group chat, my phone rang. It was my mom. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call, this time from my dad. Ignored. Then, a text from my mom. Please, just talk to us. We can fix this. Fix what exactly? The fact that they got caught? That their lies didn't work? I wasn't falling for it. Then, another text came through, from Ryan. Congratulations. You just ruined my life. I hope you're happy. That one almost made me laugh. He tried to steal from me, and now I was the villain? I didn't respond. I had nothing left to say. But something told me, this wasn't over yet. The next morning, I woke up to yet another message from my mom. If you don't drop this, you're out of the family for good. No more holidays, no more calls, nothing. Think carefully about what you're doing. I stared at my phone, shaking my head. This was their last-ditch effort to control me. They weren't apologizing. They weren't holding Ryan accountable. They were just trying to scare me into backing down. I took a deep breath and replied, I already made my choice. If protecting Ryan is more important than doing what's right, then I don't need this family. I hit send and blocked their numbers. For the first time in my life, I felt completely free. But just when I thought it was over, I got an unexpected message, from Emily. And what she had to say, I never saw it coming. I almost didn't open Emily's message. But curiosity got the best of me. I know you hate me, but I need to tell you the truth. Ryan told me it was just a prank, that he wasn't actually trying to take your money. I didn't know how far he was going until it was too late. I'm sorry. A prank? Was she serious? Before I could even respond, she sent another message. Also, I just found out your parents helped him. They gave him some of your old personal info, thinking it would work. I swear, I didn't know until after. My own parents gave Ryan my information? That was it. This wasn't just about Ryan anymore, my entire family had been in on it. And now? I was definitely pressing charges. Emily's confession confirmed what I had suspected. This wasn't just Ryan acting alone. My own parents had actively helped him try to steal from me. I wasted no time. I forwarded Emily's messages to my lawyer, along with all the other evidence I had. His response was immediate. This isn't just attempted fraud anymore. If your parents provided your personal info, they could face serious legal consequences too. I felt a strange mix of anger and relief. Anger that my own family had betrayed me so deeply. Relief that I finally had the power to hold them accountable. That afternoon, my lawyer officially filed a report. Ryan and my parents were about to get a very unpleasant surprise. But what happened next? Even I wasn't prepared for it. 2 days after my lawyer filed the report, I got a frantic email from my mom. How could you do this to your own family? The police showed up asking questions. Do you have any idea what you've done? Oh, I knew exactly what I had done. I didn't reply. Instead, I got on a call with my lawyer, who confirmed that Ryan and my parents were now under investigation for attempted fraud and identity theft. Since they hadn't actually stolen any money, they might not face jail time, but they weren't getting off easy. Then, another message came in. This time from Ryan. You just ruined my life. I lost my job because of this. Are you happy now? I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered, he had no problem trying to take my money. He had no problem dragging my name through the mud when I refused. So yeah, I was fine with it. But just when I thought it was over, my dad did something that took things to another level. And this time? There was no coming back from it. Just when I thought my family couldn't sink any lower, my dad pulled one last desperate move. I got a notification from my bank. Someone had tried to open a new credit card in my name. Luckily, my fraud alerts were set up, so the request was flagged immediately. I called the bank, and after verifying my identity, I asked where the application came from. The rep hesitated before saying, "It was submitted using an address linked to a family member, your father." That was it. They weren't just covering for Ryan anymore, they were actively trying to steal from me again. I called my lawyer immediately. Within hours, my dad was added to the fraud investigation. This time? It wasn't just attempted fraud. It was a criminal offense. A week later, I got word. Ryan had been fined, my dad was facing real legal trouble, and my parents? Completely cut off from me, permanently. Some relatives begged me to fix things. But I was done. I blocked them all. Moved to a new place. Changed my numbers. And for the first time in my life, I was finally free.